welcome to Lawyer of the Week. Lawyer of the Week is creating a global community of lawyers, solicitors, and their support to inform and to encourage each other. Hello, my name is Pamela Deneuve. Thank you for joining the Lawyer of the Week. I wanted to share with you a bit before the interview. A few weeks ago, we lost a great leader in South Africa, Nick Swart, who was the CEO of the Law Society. When I first met Nick, I had the privilege of being introduced to Dr. Jeanne-Mari Retief. I also had an opportunity to see Jeanne-Mari's excellent work in action as I was able to assist her with one of her many projects. Dr. Jeanne-Mari Retief is making a tremendous difference, and I hope that you enjoy her interview. Hello, my name is Pamela Deneuve, and I'd like to welcome you today to Lawyer of the Week. I am very pleased today to have Jeanne-Mari Retief today. And how are you, Jeanne-Mari?
I'm very good. Thank you so much for having me.
Jeanne-Mari is in South Africa, and so we're very happy that she made some time to be the Lawyer of the Week. Let me just tell you a little bit about Jeanne-Mari. Jeanne-Mari is an admitted attorney and practices in the development of international human rights and constitutional law. She has successfully completed legal projects for various key stakeholders in the global legal arena and is known for her creative and passionate approach to the evolution of a modern legal profession. She has assisted law firms with team restructuring and is called upon to evaluate the strengths members could bring to the team prior to appointment. She founded Calibrix in 2012 and has since published in various accredited journals and have presented papers related to international human rights and humanitarian law, both at home and abroad. She serves as foreign liaison to the organized legal profession and is a proud member of KAS Expert Group on International Criminal Justice. She holds a PhD in International Humanitarian and Criminal Law. Welcome, Jeanne-Mari.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I hope I can contribute something valuable.
Okay. I'd like to ask you our Lawyer of the Week questions. And the first one is, when and what made you decide to become a lawyer?
That was actually, I think, maybe pure chance or fate. I actually wanted to become a speech therapist and audiologist, but I didn't get through the interview rounds. And I was very disappointed. And one of my friends told me, well, why don't you just come and study law with us until you figure out what you want to do? And I ended up being the only one graduating with a law degree. They all went on to do different things.
Oh, isn't that something? Oh, wow, that's really good. So you were the one that ended up with a law degree.
Yeah.
So tell us about your practice and what are your biggest wins and challenges?
Well, I run a small practice basically focused on international human rights and humanitarian law, and I focus a lot on Africa. I would think the biggest challenge would be it's not really a very well publicized field, especially in Africa. So most attorneys would work in commercial law, conveyancing, or family law. So it really is a kind of a club that you need to get into, and you need to kind of get your foot in the door. And that was definitely the biggest challenge for me when I started this, when I started Calibrix. And then obviously the biggest win for me would be that I hope I've achieved it to some degree. And I hope that I can continue to broaden my field even more and just kind of meet more people and take on more projects in Africa.
Mm-hmm. How long have you been practicing as an international human rights lawyer?
Well, I started, I suppose, in 2013. So, or 2012 when I opened Calibrix. I really started focusing on that. Prior to that, I was working in legal aid.
Okay, okay, great. And I'm sure you make a big difference all over Africa. I know you travel all the time to different locations to kind of.
Well, I hope to think so, but the thing in Africa is that we have a very specific drive towards African solutions for African problems. And this really puts us in a position where we have brilliant humanitarian and human rights instruments that are drafted and that exist, but practically implementing them always kind of seems to be the problem. So I try and focus a lot of my efforts on that, on using the mechanisms, the great mechanisms that we already have in place, and to try and make it practical and to have it implemented and to work.
Oh, great. So tell me, what is the biggest opportunity that you see for you to make a legacy for your work that you're doing? I know you're in the beginning of it, but if you would look back, what would be the legacy that you would like to leave about what you're doing?
I think I would like to leave a legacy to say that human rights, especially in Africa, is still very important. And a lot of good things can come from that. And I know that there are a lot of challenges that you face when you work in this field, from budgetary constraints to making good connections with people to technological difficulties, administrative difficulties. But if you put your mind to it, you really can do it. And making a practical difference really does make a difference. I think a lot of attorneys are very obviously economically driven, which is fine because we all need to make a living. But at the end of the day, I also think that we are in this profession to give back. And I would like to see that happen to a greater degree.
That's good. Okay. So one last question: what do you do to try to relieve your stress?
Well, it can get a bit hectic sometimes because I do travel a lot and I have a lot on my plate. So I always try and just be brutally honest to myself about my situation and to acknowledge and accept that I have limitations. Because I think sometimes we think that we can do everything, and you tend to just kind of pile everything on, and then you realize too late that it's too much. So just to be truthful with yourself as to what your limitations are, acknowledging those and accepting those, because it's completely fine to have limitations and to work with those. That's why we have other people in the profession that have other strengths than we do, that we can sometimes rely upon. So that works really well for me.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Jeanne-Mari, and we really appreciate you being the Lawyer for the Week.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for joining Lawyer of the Week. We hope to see you again next week.